So, as we all know, 2023 wasn't a really good year for movies to be released, and it wasn't a really good year for entertainment at all, and it seems to be that 2023 was a bit of a letdown than how we gotten some decentable and some enjoyable movies from last year of 2022. There has been not a lot of people that have been going to the theaters. Not a lot of people are going to the theaters anymore, and nowadays people are basically just relying a bit more on streaming, and I kind of feel like that streaming is basically what ruined how we ruined watching movies and TV shows in the first place. Well, mainly movies. And Best Buy is no longer going to be doing any more physical media sales. They are no longer going to be selling any more Blu-rays or DVDs and are now discontinuing it. And it seems to be that the future of film is basically in fear. And a lot of streaming services also has been removing a lot of content lately. And let's also not forget about the writers and actors strike that has been going on around for about half a year now, I believe. Let's also not forget about the down quality of Hollywood blockbuster franchises, like with the Marvel Cinematic Universe, for example. Let's talk about the Marvel Cinematic Universe. The MCU has been around for a very long time, ever since with the first Iron Man movie, and the MCU was the divine genre of superhero movies, and basically was teaching us about how superhero movies should be like, and how shared cinematic universe could be like as well. And most people even try to copy the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and then after Endgame, the Marvel Cinematic Universe has been going down in quality. Unlike the Infinity Saga, which was planned out pretty well, the Multiverse Saga just seems to plan out pretty poorly. Hell, Phase 4 of the MCU just feels like that it was planned out pretty poorly, and it didn't feel like that it was focusing more on the entirety of the Multiverse Saga at all, and it just feels like that it has been going nowhere and nowhere and nowhere at first. And Phase 4 and 5 of the MCU just seems to be planned out pretty poorly. And the look at the Marvel movies just feels like uninspirational. They don't feel as much as cinematic or inspirational like they did with the Infinity Saga. And it just seems to be like how the MCU is rushing stories and it's just trying to rush and just trying to please the fans, and basically is just trying to make sure that the fans are still staying around and to making sure that the people are doing their homework. But every MCU movie and TV show after Endgame just feels more like homework. Homework. There has been some good MCU content after Endgame, though we might talk about that in a different time. Marvel has now become a shell of its own. And it's not to say that I hate superhero movies now. No, I still love superhero movies, and I still want to see some good superhero and comic book movies, and we did get some really good superhero and comic book movies for this year. Like, we got Shin Kamen Rider, we got Guardians Volume 3, and Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. And hell, I love 3 of those movies. I thought those movies were pretty cool, and I thought that they were pretty fun to watch. And as for comic book stuff, I still got a lot of comic book merch that I have. I still got a lot of Marvel Legends stuff that I have on my wall. And I also got some Dragon Ball figures, which is a manga, which is a Japanese comic book. But superhero movies aren't the reason about why people should go out to the movies in the first place. No, that's not the case at all. Movies are art. They're supposed to be entertaining. They're supposed to capture us, the audience's eye. They're supposed to capture the audience's eye. And when audience see a movie poster in the theater saying, this looks very interesting, then they go to the movie and they basically watch the movie and they say, wow, this is good, or is bad. Now that we got that out of the way, let's talk about Best Buy no longer offering physical media anymore. Now, when I heard about the news that Best Buy is no longer going to be doing any more physical media, I was pretty shocked, and I was pretty worried as well, because nowadays people are just relying more and more on streaming, and streaming is like the new It's like the new thing now for watching movies and TV shows. And whenever you see like something of a poster that you see in a movie theater onto a streaming service, like on Disney Plus, for example, you basically just recognize that those were meant to be in the theater. They were not meant to be on streaming. While people is relying on streaming to watch their favorite movies, just so you know, not all of their favorite movies are on streaming. Not every single movie is on streaming, and there are movies that haven't been on streaming and that are pretty rare to find, especially on physical media. Like, for example, Dogma. Dogma is by far one of the most rarest Kevin Smith films ever made. And to this day, you cannot watch Dogma anywhere. You cannot watch the movie anywhere on streaming. You cannot watch the movie anywhere on digital. And there is no physical copy. Even if there is a physical copy, it would either cost a little bit pricey online, which, yeah, online it is pretty pricey. And if you found a print of the movie, good luck finding it anyway, or good luck paying for it with your money. We also know that streaming has been dying down in quality as of lately, and it seems to be that streaming has been removing a lot of good content that we have been watching, and a lot of good content that we love watching. Like, for example, with Disney Plus, with Disney Plus and Hulu, after Disney has lost a lot of subscribers for Disney Plus, they decided to remove most of the content that they have from Disney Plus in order to save money. There's also with Hulu. Hulu also had to remove streaming content. Like, for example, they removed Future Man from Hulu. Future Man is by far one of, if not my favorite sci-fi and dark comedies I've ever seen. It's brilliantly written, it is brilliantly directed, and it has a lot of good visual effects, and it has a lot of good camera angles and good directing as well. And it overall just has a lot of really good dark comedic moments and some clever comedic moments as well. And sadly, the show is no longer available on Hulu, and it's no longer viewable on Hulu as Hulu had removed the series from their streaming service. And that's kind of pretty sad. And there is no physical copy of the series. There's no DVD, there's no Blu-ray, there's nothing. There's no Blu-ray or DVD copy of the series. And to this day, you cannot watch the series anywhere other than you can watch it on digital, since it is available on YouTube and it's also available on Amazon, but still. Physical media is more important than streaming right now. And right now, at its time, physical media is struggling. Physical media is supposed to be the production of the filmmaker's work. It's art, entertaining as well. It's supposed to be like this showcase or portfolio, at least in my mind, for filmmakers to release their movies. And that's just my personal opinion. But physical media is more important, and the shows and the movies that you are watching right now on streaming, they're not going to be there for that much long, because eventually they are going to be removed from streaming. I'm going to miss the good old days of buying a movie or a TV show, or buying any physical copy of a movie or TV show on Best Buy. I remember that I bought Alien and Predator from Best Buy, and I remember that I had a fun time watching it. And then I remember back in 2018 when I was working over the summer and I was trying to save up money for getting Avengers Infinity War on Blu-ray. I got the movie on Blu-ray and I was pretty happy about it. Outside of buying MCU movies on Blu-rays, I would often buy classical movies that I really loved watching as a kid, or movies that I haven't really watched yet. And occasionally I would often buy TV shows that I really love watching over and over again on physical media. I would also often buy movies that I really love watching in the theater and that become my favorite movie of the year or of all time. And I would buy a movie about that and just watch it over and over again. I would also often buy anime on Blu-ray at Best Buy. And seeing some classic animes that you love and spotting anime on Best Buy, like when you spot Naruto Shippuden on Blu-ray or Cowboy Bebop on Blu-ray, or sometimes when you find like an anime film that you love watching in the theater, or just random anime in general, you had a fun time looking in the shelves to find what anime is available on Best Buy. But now that's already over, and I'm definitely gonna miss the Blu-rays that Best Buy has sell. A lot of people are not going to the movie theaters anymore. Not a lot of people are going to see like these new movies that are playing out in theaters right now. And the only times I have seen some people that have come to the movie theaters to watch a movie was basically with John Wick Chapter 4, Oppenheimer, or recently with the new Studio Ghibli film The Boy and the Heroine, and the new recently Godzilla Minus One. The reason why these movies did very well at the box office and they did very well in theaters, it's not because of marketing or anything, though probably marketing has something to do with some of these films, minus with The Boy and the Heroine, and from what I've seen from marketing Godzilla Minus One, although I've barely seen any marketing for Godzilla Minus One aside from the trailer. But anyways, yeah, the reason why these films did a really great job is because people went to see these movies, word of mouth comes, and when word of mouth comes, people would go to the movies and they would just often watch these movies. And also, Oppenheimer had a trend with basically with the release date of both Barbie and Oppenheimer releasing at the same time. Barbenheimer started out as this trend. It started as a meme and then it eventually turned into this trend where people would go to see Barbie and Oppenheimer both on the same day, and Barbie and Oppenheimer did a really amazing job at the box office. And yeah,
you know, I used to plan my days where you start out early in the morning and you go to movies all day, and I like doing that, you know, and I'd go from one cinema to the next, and I'm going to do that. So I'm going to see them both opening day.
There were also movies based on popular franchises that bombed at the box office, like for example with films like Indiana Jones 5. Needless to say, that one is by far, if not one of the worst of the Indiana Jones films out there. At least with Indiana Jones 4, it was actually entertaining. Indiana Jones 5, however, doesn't seem to be good whatsoever. It had bad writing, bad character development, really bad characters, unlikable characters, and a terrible script, and there was no reason to make this movie at all, and that Indiana Jones should have just ended with the third film, and that there was no reason for a fifth film at all. There were also good movies based on popular film franchises that didn't do well at the box office, like with Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1. Needless to say, that movie bombed at the box office due to Barbenheimer's trend. While I enjoy the good movies that were released around this year, and I didn't enjoy the bad movies that were released around this year, it just seems to be that new movies aren't really captivating, and we want like an original story, and we did get an original story with Everything Everywhere All at Once, and we also did get it with this one movie with Joaquin Phoenix, and people are like, well, I'm not going to see that because this movie is very confusing, and it seems to be that a lot of people are afraid to be challenged, and we live in a time where people are just afraid to be challenged and are not going to understand too much about the story of this or that, you name it. It seems to be that new movies aren't really grabbing anybody's, including myself's, attention. But there has been some decentable movies that did grab my attention, and there has been some old classic movies that I loved rewatching this time on the big screen. For some old classic movies, I got to see Dragon Ball Z Battle of Gods, again, this time in the theater, and I also got to see Spirited Away again, this time in the theater, and I got to see Five Nights at Freddy's in theaters. For the rest of the classics, I got to see Godzilla 2000, again, this time in the theater. I got to see Ghost in the Shell, again, this time in the theater. I got to see Scarface again, this time in the theater. And I got to see Saving Private Ryan again, this time in the theater. For new movies in theaters, I got to see Godzilla Minus One in theaters. And I also got to see The Boy and the Heron in theaters. And for the rest of the classic films, I got to see Tokyo Godfathers again, this time in theaters. And I also got to see Die Hard again, this time in theaters. I still love going to the theaters. I still love going to the theaters and support these talented filmmakers, and still loving rewatching old classic movies, this time on the big screen, and even looking at movies that actually grab my attention or that I heard that they are good. The future of film is worrisome. Physical media is struggling. Movie theaters are empty. Not a lot of people are going out to the movies, and a lot of people are just staying home and are just waiting for a certain movie to come out on streaming. And yeah, it just seems to be pretty worrisome. I still support physical media, and I still love watching physical media. And after realizing that streaming is kind of dying down a bit in quality and removing certain content from certain streaming services, it just proves to us that streaming is dying. But yet there are still a lot of people that still are subscribed to certain streaming services and are still waiting for movies that are coming out on streaming. And yeah, it's pretty worrisome, and I don't really know what is going to happen. I do hope that next year it will be better. Hopefully that movie theaters will be safe, and I hope that people will still support physical media such as myself. But that's up for the future, and we might still need to wait. Hopefully that in the future we can get the good old days back. Thank you guys very much for watching, and as always, if you like this video, please leave a like, subscribe, share, and comment. And for those of you who are wondering, yes, I am still working on the Cowboy Bebop fan film that I'm currently working on, and yes, I'm still working on the indie film that I'm currently working on right now. Those are getting delayed for a little while due to scheduling issues and due to me having to finish some classes, and sometime later next year I need to go back to classes again. But rest assured, there are some videos that are planned out in the meantime. Like, for example, I'm planning to work on a Gen V video that I have in mind, and a Trigun Stampede video, and a Godzilla -1 review and essay video. And I do have other videos that I have in mind planned to make. Rest assured, there will be some more content coming up soon.